For those of you who are just joining us, we've been talking about Brady Knowlton. I've referred to him as Bradley. I apologize for that. His name is Brady Knowlton. He's 41 years old. He's been charged with obstruction of justice. He's the Democrats' latest witch hunt victim regarding the January 6th Capitol building, what they keep referring to as an insurrection, which we all know was a protest. But apparently conservatives are not allowed to protest. It's allowed as far as the Constitution is concerned. They don't care. If you're a conservative and you protest, you are now obstructing justice, according to the Department of Justice. But I've got the evidence, and I've got the proof that Brady Knowlton did nothing that day to obstruct justice. He did nothing that day to break into what they considered a closed building, which it was not. Police let him in. He was there for 18 minutes. He took a few selfies, and he left peacefully. Don't take my word for it. Let's look at the criminal complaint filed directly in the District of Columbia. So if you want to know what really happened, this is what really happened. We're going to talk about it right now. Did Brady Knowlton actually obstruct justice? Did he cause harm? Was he one of the rogue Antifa members who decided to storm through barricades? No, he wasn't. And in this complaint, we're going to look for pictures and we're going to try to find out and see for ourselves evidence that he actually committed any crimes. Here's Knowlton standing outside the Capitol in the middle of the photograph. No different than anything I took that day, standing around the Capitol after Trump's speech, and we walked down Pennsylvania Avenue, stopped by the DOJ, then we stopped at the Capitol taking selfies. Nothing unlawful about that. Sure, he's got some gear on. That doesn't mean anything. I could wear a bulletproof vest. I could walk around as long as I have a license to carry. Whatever the rules are at the Capitol have to obviously be adhered to, which he did. But he looks like he's got some tactical gear on. Big deal. Here's Knowlton standing on the steps of the Capitol. Is that a crime? I don't think so. The last I heard, we're allowed to stand on the steps of a government building and protest. He was then allowed to go into the building. Here he is holding a camera. He's not storming barricades. He was led in by law enforcement, and that's in the testimony. He said, police officers allowed me in. There's videos of him shaking hands with these police officers. Officers were walking the opposite direction as he was coming in. They were saying hi to each other. There's nothing unlawful about that. He was allowed to come in to the building. If the law enforcement officers failed to do their job and guard the building, and they weren't supposed to allow people in, that's not this Brady Knowlton's issue. This is a situation for law enforcement, Capitol Hill Police, to deal with or to be charged with if they weren't in fact allowed to be allowing people in. But that is not the protesters' problem. Moving on throughout this criminal complaint. Remember, this is the factual, legal criminal complaint document. This is not on the media anymore. This is not Daily Wire reporting. This is the actual criminal complaint filed. Approximately 1 minute later at 2:36, Knowlton entered the Capitol Rotunda. He stayed there for several minutes and then left and entered the lobby at approximately 2:39 p.m. So he walked around. Big freaking deal. We're talking about a guy who is now being charged that with very serious crimes that could carry a 20-year sentence. Here's Brady Knowlton again, hanging out. I mean, this is all that's going on. He's hanging out. Look, he doesn't have a mask on. Notice how all these other people who are wearing Trump hats, you could pick out Antifa in this, can't you? It's very easily to spot. That man looks like an innocent bystander. He's just hanging out, walking around. He then goes upstairs to the third floor. He enters the Senate chamber, taking more selfies. I'm not sure at this point if you're allowed to be in the Senate chamber. That's probably something that a room that they were not really supposed to go into. He didn't break into the room forcefully. He just kind of walked in. People were in there. He was confused. I would have been if I entered the building, which I didn't that day. But if I did, I would have been confused. Or I would have thought this is completely acceptable. Everyone else is doing it. Not that that's an excuse, but everybody else is doing it. So why would I think that we are not allowed to be doing it? Especially when earlier police let him in. So he's taking some selfies. Here he is, Knowlton up there. He's in the chamber. He's up top. He's walking around. He's not showboating. He's not stealing documents. He's not rummaging through the desks of the House of Representatives or of the Senate. And that's it. I mean, that is the entire complaint. There's sorry, guys. I hate to disappoint you, but there's nothing else to it. This guy did not do what he's being accused of doing. It's just not, there's nothing else to talk about, yet he's facing 20 years for January 6 charges. His lawyer said he just went to a protest. Let's take a look at the comments cam and see what the American people have to say about the insanity of this witch hunt. Julie says these investigations are out of control, again focusing on the absolute wrong people while true criminals are destroying big cities, business, and lives. BLM protesters. Let's call them what they really are, though. Rioters. Because while conservatives are being locked up, the Democratic left, the far left radicals, the progressives are given an all-access pass to do whatever they want to America right now. And that includes burning, looting, rioting, and it continues to go on today. These are the real criminals we should be focusing on. Not this Brady guy who took a freaking tour of the Capitol building. If you want to charge him with anything, charge him with taking a tour that maybe he shouldn't have been taking that day. I mean, that's all that most of these people should be charged with. That charge does not carry 20 years. David Brady says, how can normal, intelligent people not know this was set up long before it even happened? I'm getting so tired of stupid people. David, I share the sentiment. It's astonishing. It's astonishing that you can't look at this entire thing and know the whole thing was a setup and total bullshit at this point. If you refuse to admit that January 6th was a setup, you're either lying to yourself or you're just that out of touch with reality. Because there's no two ways about it. Look, we've dug into the situation. Okay, it's mainstream media that FBI plants were there to instigate and entice what we still believe is Antifa to go in and put on a freaking show. This was a setup. Nancy Pelosi was warned not once, not twice, 3 times. Are you sure you don't want more Capitol Police? No, we're good. Barricades were set up, but they were then removed. Police were shown escorting people in the building and say, hey, come on, up. This was a freaking setup. And people like Brady Knowlton, who's a 41-year-old, very well-respected attorney or a lawyer, a donor to the Republican Party. He's been on freaking Animal Planet, for Christ's sake, had his own show. Just a good, well-rounded guy. It was a setup, and I agree. How stupid can people be at this point? And yet Jussie Smollett is out on bail, awaiting appeal on his fabricated hate crime. Our country is a political cesspool. It is. It's a very, very good way to put it. It's a political cesspool right now. And I share Leroy's frustration with the fact that he thinks communism has taken over the Democrat Party. It has. And if we're not careful, it's going to take over the Republican Party. The Democrats, you guys can all go and circle jerk around communism if you want. That's fine. Leave the Republicans and the conservatives out of it. You guys move to a freaking island. Have a field day. Go enjoy Big Daddy bending you over and telling you what you're going to eat for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. That's fine. Leave the rest of America out of it. David Swenson said, this case shows the power that our government has. Other recent cases also show that government powers can knock down your door in the middle of the night and take you outside to stand in the snow. There's definitely some wrong with all of this. The government has way too much power, and people are determined to be guilty as charged without representation or a trial by jury. We have these January 6th insurrectionists still hanging out in Gitmo-like conditions. They're denied due process. Yet Jussie Smollett is out because he's freaking black. Let's be honest. He's a black liberal. He's a black gay liberal. The trifecta of get out of jail cards are concerned. The trifecta of black privilege. He's out. Yet we have these people like Brady Knowlton and others who did nothing wrong. Nothing wrong.